Hey everyone, welcome to Massachusetts Sports Central. This is our NFL division previews, and we are now looking at the AFC North. Um, as we've been doing in all of these, we are going from worst to first. So starting off at number 4, I think a little bit of a surprise for many people off the bat is the Cincinnati Bengals. So Bengals had made the playoffs quite a few years in a row going into last year, and they had a pretty bad season, only winning 6 games actually and one tie, so 6-8-1. I'm sorry, 6-9-1. And so I'm clearly of the opinion that this was the beginning of the end as opposed to a blip in the road. A lot of people like their draft. I didn't really like the draft. I didn't think John Ross was a good pick, and now he's also hurt, at least missing the opener from what the most recent reports are. They lost some of their offensive linemen. Their defense is getting older. Vontez Burfict and Pac-Man are both getting suspended again. Dalton's not a bad quarterback, but he's certainly not among the league's elite. AJ Green is a great receiver, but he's still just a receiver. You need to have somebody to throw to him. You have to have other people taking the pressure off. You need to have people to block. So I'm just not high on Cincinnati. And honestly, if I was just going to guess, I would have said that they were like a 5-win team, and I would have picked them off the top of my head to finish third ahead of Cleveland. But after going through the schedule, their schedule is just a little bit harder than Cleveland's, and I had them only winning 3 games, and Cleveland's a little bit ahead of them. So obviously, if you disagree with this, that just means that you think much higher of Cincinnati than I do. If you look at the schedule itself, like I said, I don't think they're very good. So I'm looking at that, and I really don't see very many games that I had them losing. Obviously at Cleveland, but I had them winning at home against Cleveland. I did have them winning at home against Indy, who's also going to be a bad team, I think. I had them winning at home against Chicago, who I also think is going to be a bad team. Those are their 3 wins. I had them losing at Jacksonville, who I do think is kind of going to be a bad team, so that's a possibility. Home versus Buffalo. Don't think Buffalo's going to be that good, but I don't think they're going to be nearly as bad as Cincinnati, to be honest. So, so that's Cincinnati. All right, moving on. I don't think anybody would be too surprised about this. Number 3, the Cleveland Browns. Not surprised in as much as if they weren't last, they weren't going to be any higher than third. 4-12, so I only have them 1 game better than Cincinnati, so those two could easily flip. So one of the reasons that I had them better is they have a slightly easier schedule, first and foremost. They're playing the Jets at home. The Jets, in my opinion, are going to be easily the worst team in the league this year. So that's actually just, in my opinion, an easy win. I'm splitting with Cincinnati. I did have them beating Baltimore, who obviously is going to be finishing ahead of them in the standings that I have here. But I did have them losing at Chicago. As I said, I think Chicago is going to be pretty bad. So, that's a winnable game that I have them losing. And at Indy, again, Indy I think is going to be a pretty bad team, but still going to lose to them on the road, I think. I think that's pretty much all we need to say about Cleveland. Next up, again, don't think anybody's going to be too surprised, the Baltimore Ravens. What some people probably would be surprised is either, I think they're just going to be thoroughly mediocre. I think some people think they're going to really bounce back and have a good year. Other people think that they're going to have a bad year. I think they're just kind of middling. So, okay in the division. I do have them winning their home game against Pittsburgh and losing their road game. I have them beating all of the pretty bad teams. So they start off with a very nice schedule at Cincinnati, Cleveland, at Jacksonville. I don't think I even have those teams combined winning 10 games off the top of my head. So that should be a nice, strong start for them. And I do have them beating Pittsburgh at home because Pittsburgh just seems to struggle with them. Then losing to Oakland, beating another weak Chicago team. So 4 of their first 6 games are pretty easy, and I have them winning one of the 2 tough ones. Then it gets a lot harder, and I have them losing their next 5 because those are all pretty tough games. So again, then winning against two mediocre teams at the end of the year to pull back to 500. So I don't think that they're going to be very good, and I don't think they're going to be in serious playoff contention, since they're going to have, they're going to be 6-8 going into their last two games. And number one, the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think Pittsburgh's going to be good this year. Don't think that they have a particularly hard schedule. Not an easy schedule, but not a particularly hard schedule. They are, I think they're going to start strong, because if you look, so I have them winning their first three, and two of them road games, but it's at Cleveland and at Chicago. So two, in my opinion, very bad teams. So they should beat up on them. Home against Minnesota. I think Minnesota's going to be decent, but Pittsburgh's far better. And then they have another easy game with Jacksonville after the Baltimore one at KC. So I have them losing at KC. I think these are both two pretty good teams, and I think that KC is got a very good home field advantage, so I think that's going to be a tough game, and I have them losing that. And then I'll have them losing again until they play New England. And they are good enough to beat New England. It is at home. New England actually will be on their, I believe that's their third straight road game. So that could definitely flip to a win as well. And so I have them at 13-3, and like I said, they could conceivably win any. They're good enough to win any of the three games that I have them losing. And there's not too many. That Minnesota game, Tennessee, Green Bay. So but they got them all these games at home, which is a big advantage for them. I have them winning, but they could lose to Tennessee. They could lose to Green Bay. They could lose at Houston. Houston I have as a very good team this year. So losing to them on the road wouldn't be shocking either. But I'd be really surprised if this team wins less than 11, and they could be 14. But I feel pretty confident in the 13 wins. If they, as long as they don't have too many of their play down to their opponent moments, which is not something that's uncommon for them, unfortunately, for Steelers fans. Okay, so that is the AFC North. Stay tuned for the rest of our videos if you haven't watched them yet. And as always, thanks for watching, and please like, comment, and share the videos, and subscribe to our channel. You can also follow us on other social media. Facebook and Twitter are both at MA Sports Central. Thanks, and we will see you soon.